The rain was pouring so hard that night, it felt like the heavens were trying to wash away something heavy from the world. I remember standing outside their old brick house, drenched to the bone, staring at the faint yellow light coming through the living room curtains. My heart was pounding, not because of fear, but because of everything I had been holding in for years. Inside that house was a woman who had lost more than anyone deserved to lose. Inside that house was my best friend's mother. And that night, she said something that would change both of our lives forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the beauty of human connection, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. It truly helps stories like this reach more hearts. It had been almost 2 years since my best friend, Adam, passed away. We were inseparable growing up. Neighbors, classmates, brothers in everything but blood. His death wasn't something anyone could have prepared for. A late-night car accident on a highway drenched in rain, a speeding truck, a single missed second, and just like that, he was gone. I still remember the call from his mother, Mrs. Thompson. Her voice was shaking, breaking between words that barely made sense. I rushed to the hospital that night, but by the time I got there, Adam's body was already cold. I'd never seen her look so lost, so empty. In the months that followed, I tried to visit her often. She'd always been like a second mother to me. After Adam's funeral, I promised I'd check on her, make sure she was never alone. But life has a cruel way of pulling people apart. Work, grief, guilt, it all piles up until you start to disappear into your own silence. And before I knew it, nearly a year had passed since I last knocked on her door. That night, something inside me told me to go. I can't explain it. Maybe it was the sound of the rain. Maybe the ache of remembering Adam's birthday was just 2 days away. I found myself driving through the storm, headlights slicing through the dark, until I saw that familiar street. Most of the houses were asleep, but her porch light was still on. I took a deep breath and climbed the steps, each one feeling heavier than the last. When she opened the door, I barely recognized her. Mrs. Thompson used to have the warmest smile, the kind that could light up a room. But that night her face looked tired, pale, and worn down by loneliness. Her once golden hair had faded into strands of silver, and her eyes, those soft motherly eyes, carried a sadness that had no end. She froze for a moment when she saw me. Then her lips trembled as she whispered, "Wasimim, is that really you?" I nodded. She reached out, her hand shaking as it touched my cheek. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The only sound was the rain hitting the porch roof. Then she stepped aside and said softly, "Come in, sweetheart. You must be freezing." The house smelled like it always did. Lavender candles and the faint trace of coffee. But everything else had changed. The walls that once held pictures of laughter, birthdays, and family moments now felt empty. Most of the photo frames were gone, except one on the mantel, Adam's graduation photo. His smile was still the same, bright, full of life. Unaware of how short it would be, I felt a lump rise in my throat as I looked at it. She handed me a towel and a cup of tea, her hands trembling as she sat across from me. For a while, we just talked about small things, the weather, my job, how the neighborhood had changed. But beneath every word, there was something else. Something neither of us wanted to say. Finally, she broke the silence. "You know," she whispered. "I still set a plate for him sometimes. I still catch myself calling out his name in the mornings, thinking he'll come running down the stairs like he used to." Her voice cracked and she looked away. "It's silly, I know. I shook my head. It's not silly, I said softly. It's love. She looked at me for a long moment, her eyes glistening with tears. You were his best friend, Wasim. You were like my second son. But when he died, it felt like I lost you, too. That hit me harder than I expected. Guilt rushed through me. She was right. I had disappeared, swallowed by my own pain. I had been too scared to face hers. I'm sorry, I said quietly. I should have been here. She smiled faintly, though her eyes stayed sad. We all run from the things that hurt us most. Hours passed like that, two people sitting in a house full of memories, trying to fill the silence with stories of someone we both loved. She laughed softly when I reminded her how Adam once broke her favorite vase trying to teach me how to skateboard indoors. For a few fleeting minutes, it felt like the past had returned, like Adam was just upstairs waiting to join in. Then came the moment I didn't expect. As I stood up to leave, she followed me to the door. The rain had slowed to a soft drizzle, the world outside quiet and dim under the street light. I turned to say goodbye, but her eyes met mine with a fragile kind of desperation. And that's when she said it, her voice barely above a whisper. Wasim, stay with me tonight. I froze. It wasn't a request laced with anything inappropriate or strange. It was a plea from someone who had spent too many nights alone with her memories, her grief echoing in every corner of that house. She looked so small, so broken, clutching the edge of her sweater like a child lost in the dark. It's just the nights are harder, she continued softly. When the rain comes, I can almost hear his voice. I don't want to feel that alone again tonight. Something inside me cracked. I nodded slowly and said, you don't have to be alone anymore. She broke down then, silent tears slipping down her cheeks as she covered her face with her hands. I didn't say anything. I just stepped forward and held her the way I wished someone had held me when I lost Adam, too. It wasn't about comfort. It was about shared pain. Two broken hearts finding warmth in the coldness of loss. That night, we sat in the living room until morning. We talked about Adam, his dreams, his fears, the way he used to make everyone laugh, even when things were falling apart. She showed me old letters he wrote, the ones she kept hidden in a drawer beside her bed. Some of them were about me, how he considered me more of a brother than a friend. Reading his words brought tears I hadn't shed in years. As dawn crept through the curtains, Mrs. Thompson smiled for the first time in a long while. He would have wanted us to keep living, you know, she said quietly, to take care of each other. I nodded. Then let's do that, I replied. Let's keep him alive that way. From that day on, I started visiting her more often. At first, it was once a week, bringing groceries, fixing things around the house, sharing dinner. But soon, it became more than that. It became a rhythm, a promise neither of us had to say out loud. She found laughter again, sometimes even humming to herself in the kitchen. In me, I found peace in the one place I used to fear the most, his absence. Over the months, we began volunteering together at a local youth center, helping kids who'd lost their parents. It was her idea. If I can give them a little love, she said one day, then maybe Adam's love keeps spreading through me. Watching her smile at those children, I realized how strength can grow out of the deepest pain. One evening, as we packed up after a long day at the center, she turned to me and said, softly, you know, Wasim, I thought my story ended when Adam died. But maybe this is just a new chapter. And I smiled knowing she was right. We were both healing, not by forgetting the past, but by learning to live with it. Sometimes love doesn't end, it just changes shape. As I walked her home that night, the same rain began to fall again, gentle and calm this time. She looked up at the sky, then at me, and said, "He's watching over us tonight." I nodded, my chest tight with emotion. "Yeah," I whispered, "he always will." If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, and share it. Subscribe for more real emotional stories that remind us what love, loss, and healing truly mean. Before the video ends, I have one special request. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever helped someone heal? Or has someone helped you through your darkest time? Your words might give someone else the courage to keep going, because sometimes the smallest act of kindness can bring someone back from the edge of their loneliness. And that night when my best friend's mom said, "Stay with me tonight," I didn't just stay for her. I stayed for the love we both lost and for the life we were both learning to begin again.